Let me say real quick, Pookie was also invited, and she is sick. I mean, Fluffy is in contact with her, so he will he might know why she didn't come or what the problem was. Is she very sick, Fluffy? Sorry to change
You're
the
really
subject,
sick.
but
Well,
okay.
it's worse than that. It's busy. It's that thing. It's that four-letter word that haunts her, that follows her everywhere
Oh, the
she goes.
BUSY word.
But what I have done is I have put out a link because she would be really, really pleased with that. And she gives me special treats. Haha. Okay, we don't have to hear about that. But
Okay, let's answer Jens' question. So we made 18 videos so far, and Wednesday will be episode 19. Those are the narrative things. Somebody has their mic open because I'm feeding back. Please close your mics. So we have 18 episodes, and number 19 is coming Wednesday. And I also captured a little. The Summer of Fluff is a series of 5 episodes that I did when I was in Germany last summer, and then Fluffy did a few of himself where he explores. There's one fun dancing video. And also 2 art explorations, one recently with Rose Brashowski's, and one with Chica Ghost. That's on his own channel, Fluffy, right? You have your own YouTube channel. So yeah, and we started.
I have my own site, Machinima.com.
That's right. That's right. So next question.
Yes. Okay. I'm sometimes a bit unsure, but that's maybe a part of the show, or maybe part of the concept that I'm. Who is whom? Who is Draxtor? Who is Pokey? Who
Let
whom,
me explain. Yeah. So my name is Draxtor Dupre. I make no secret who I am in the so-called real life. My name is Bernhard Drax in real life, and I'm a 42-year-old male with a family and a very smart 9-year-old who plays the violin quite beautifully. Pookie is my collaborator. She's one of the most creative people that I met in SL over those many years. And Pookie, who is sick, is like I said, a very creative woman with a daughter, and she lives in New York State. Where exactly, I'm not going to disclose.
At a secret location.
Exactly.
Of course.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so the third person is Fluffy, who we met when he was first introduced on Marketplace in September 2011. And Fluffy is, I think he has his heart in the right place. He can be abrasive at times, but he loves people, and he is just, I think he means well. Sometimes he's outspoken, let's put it this way. He's not a diplomat. But I like that personally, because in Germany we say how we mean it too. And I live in California, which is weird because in California people always say, "Hey, how are you? Oh, I'm great." So when we met Fluffy, it was love at first sight.
It was meshy love.
That's messy sometimes, that's for sure. Let me say, because Heike was saying this with men, and, just real quick, we really depend. There's a mic open. Please close the mic. We met before Chris Mesh, but it was beautiful because the mesh nuts were roasting just a couple months later. We depend and still do. We depended and we still do on the creativity of residents, because the films are inspired. The stories are inspired by stuff that we see in Second Life, and that's why I personally love Machinima. You know, digital animation is a completely different animal. Somebody recently told me, "Hey, you can do like really awesome stuff in Blender, and it's really kind of shiny and tweaked and perfect." I don't care about that personally, because what is inspiring is Second Life to me, and what others do, the locations that they build, some of the products, some some of the stuff that inspires us. That's the core where we come up with those stories that we put Fluffy into. We wander around the grid and we go like, hey, holy crap, look at this awesome location here. We gotta film something here, and that is the collaborative aspect where Fluffy cannot exist in a vacuum, and I think that's why he's loved by so many residents. I mean, people really love him. It is quite insane when he, what am I talking? Fluffy, you tell him. When you log on, I don't know how many IMs you have. You log on, you have like 1,000 IMs from your fans, and they invite you, and so on and so forth.
It's very important, Carol, to get the okay of people that you're going to film on their sim for a variety of reasons. Sometimes people say no. Often they say yes. The films look great. They get a lot of hits. And what another thing about working in Second Life, it's like if you're in a game that doesn't allow for user-generated content, which is just about every game that exists, right? You're really walking through a world that was developed by one lead art director. Real life isn't like that. Second Life is much more an example of what it's like. We respond to it because we intrinsically know that when you walk down the street, there are many hands that have built the buildings and the streets and the cars and from different eras. It's not like one guy and his team up for 2 years on Red Bull doing the entire thing. No, this is like life because it is many hands who have touched this. I won't talk about how many hands have touched me. Let's move right along.
This question from Menfrey, real quick, she's referring to episode 13, I think. Here's what we decided, Pookie and I decided to, as much as we wanted to have a longer arch of storytelling, like our favorite TV shows like Lost or something like that, it is just not doable. This is something like, like Lost or even Battlestar Galactica or what have you, is very complex, and so what we opted instead to do to make pretty much every episode self-contained and explore different aspects visually and tonally. We have a black and white episode and so on and so forth. And most recently, we also decided, Pookie and I, that we want to have relevance in terms of political satire. Yeah. And also, before I do that, everybody can IM me personally at any point in time. Befriend me, please. Don't hesitate and send me questions, and I will answer them. You can send me the stupidest Machinima-related question, and I will answer it.
Somebody wanted a T-shirt.
Okay, I'm not going to answer that question. No, I will. Okay, everybody gets a T-shirt. Okay, that's fine. But not who's this guy? Who's okay? But anyway, thing is, so please don't hold back because, like I said, one of my big passions is Machinima and how Machinima empowers and really democratizes movie making, right? And a lot of people dismiss Machinima. I have friends who are professional animators. Some of them have very arrogant viewpoints, such as Machinima is basically, animation for people who are somewhat blind and don't see, when they have an error and such. But anyway, so the basis here is, Jens was asking, Fraps is a screen capture program that is free, and I think it's $30. I have the pro version, which is $30. So you need to capture. Go ahead, Fluffy.
You get free 30. You get if you can sign up, and you can get a free 30 seconds.
Right, and then has a question.
It's good for just trying quick things.
Fluffy, let me quickly run through these things real quick, and I know you have stuff to say too. So what we do is we capture the stuff that is happening in Second Life, right? It's just your virtual camera. If it's mouse look, or you can put the camera anywhere. By camera, I mean whatever you see on the screen is what you capture. I use as a piece of hardware, I use the Space Navigator, which is a $50-$60 3D mouse that architects use and such. But you don't even have to use that. You can just focus on whatever with the tools in SL, and then you capture that. So I direct, I should say, the actors like in a regular move, like as if I were in real life. I tell them, go from left to right, go from right to left. Okay, do that again, and I capture 3 different angles. So I capture that with Fraps. Then I have tons of raw material. And here's the thing that Lynn is asking me. Do I film the dialogue in World? No. I edit afterwards. That is really crucial. So once the stuff is filmed, I go a very traditional route. I put it into Final Cut Pro, which is an expensive piece of software on the Mac, but there are tools that are also free or very inexpensive. There's Final Cut Express, which is $100, and then I assemble the movie. I edit the movie in the very traditional way. So the only thing that is very SL specific is you capture this in SL. You see what you get on your screen, and that's it. You have to be careful with. I would love to know which voice morphing software you use. We don't use any voice morphing software. We have a lot of friends who do voice acting. Pretty much all SL folks, they do the voice acting. They just record into their laptops at home with Audacity, which is a voice recording software. And then they email that to us, and then I put it together. I forgot one step because I come from audio. I use Pro Tools, which is also expensive, but there's an inexpensive version. You don't need that either. You can do that in Audacity, that's how we do it. A couple of things. SL is extremely powerful when you have a powerful machine. When you crank it up to 11. Meaning you have depth of field now, which is amazing. You can play around with that. Fluffy's voice was morphed? No, Fluffy. Oh, God.
I have a real voice. It has nuance. It has pathos. It has warmth. It has sexiness. You should hear me when I first get up out of the nest in the morning and I'm fluffing it around there. Okay.
Okay, Jens, does that answer people's questions about the procedure?
Yes.
The thing is really, I mean, as much as Machinima is democratizing, this is my favorite sentence, Machinima is democratizing cinema, okay? But here's the caveat. The caveat is that the computer that I film with is very expensive, and I was only able to afford it because I got a big job, and then I put this $2,000 computer in here. The reason why it has to be so expensive is because SL is, as we all know, very it's just sucking these resources. So this is a custom-built computer with a really expensive graphic card, with tons of RAM, RAID drives. So this gets somewhat technical, but you don't need that stuff to start with. Let me just stress this. Don't get caught up in the gear war. Right? Remember, I'm a musician, and a lot of my friends still, the only thing they talk about is gear. They still buy gear magazines. They buy Guitar Player magazine. I love Guitar Player magazine, but I stopped buying it when I was 18 because all they talk is about gear, and then all you dream about is, oh, if I only had money, I could do this because then I could afford this type of gear, right?
I'm sorry, Drax, if you dream about beer, you might wake up in a puddle. I do not recommend that, ever.
I didn't say beer, I said gear, like equipment. I said gear. I do dream about beer, though. It's true.
But it's right. I mean, this would be the same conversation when in real life we had sitting here the real life directors of filmmaking, and they would start talking about that kind of gear for thousands of euro and so on. Where we as teachers, I mean, we have it should be cost free, like using free Movie Maker, using free Audacity for sound. I mean, that will be the level and of course using a webcam, a cheap webcam in real life for the
Absolutely,
filmmaking.
Jens. And you know, Jens, what you're saying is it's so important, because what really counts is creativity. The film that we just watched, for shits and giggles, what I did with this one, I captured with an iPhone, with an older iPhone, I captured it off the screen. That's how you get that graininess from the Japanese part of episode 13. People were asking me, you can't believe it. People were asking me, "Oh my God, how did you do that? That must have been, oh my God, how did you do that?" People did not believe that, it was a cheap iPhone that was cracked twice and doesn't have a contract anymore. This is what I'm talking about.
It's
Yes.
You made Kaleo draw out all of those scenes by hand.
Right. I mean, why do you have children if you can't use them for free labor?
Yes,
Sorry.
of course.
Lynn was asking. I want to answer this question, because Lynn was typing here. The actors read their lines in World, but then send you the sound files to add into the actual Machinima. So this is very important. The lip sync in Second Life is not accurately lip sync. All that it does is it can detect how loud you speak, so the mouth moves in certain loops, but it's not accurate lip sync. And this is one of the major flaws, if you will. But I just work around by doing the following. I have every actor say stuff non-stop, like random stuff they can put on the TV in the background to trigger the mouth animation. It doesn't matter. I just capture tons of stuff, tons of different angles, wide, close, half of the face, and then I edit it together in Final Cut so that it looks realistic. It is completely irrelevant if the actor says their lines in World. All you need to have is tons of footage of moving mouths, and then this is the most painstaking aspect of it. Right. Oh, Fluffy, maybe I shouldn't say that. That is our trade secret. That's how what made us so successful, Fluffy. I think when your mommy would be here,
Yes,
she would
especially from my mouth moving. My lips are sealed.
That's right. And that's where a joke, Fluffy came up with this in episode 2, where somebody posted on YouTube, "What the heck is this? His mouth is not even moving." And I've
We
heard
take our inspiration everywhere. Everywhere we get inspiration from, and that is what happens in film, because you have to kind of store those memories for when you need to take out, my God, not only a location or where you can get an asset, but some interaction that just struck you as so real. In fact, if you're looking to make a film, keep a small diary of moments, phrases, things that just strike you as so, this is Drax's favorite word, he taught it to me, authentic.
You are so right, Fluffy. Let me go to the next question. Jens, I'm sorry.
Okay.
There's 2 questions.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose them. Real quick. Sorry. Here, Osna. Heike, I'll get to that. But Osna is asking something very important. Your characters move better than anything I have seen around here. Who writes the movement scripts? Now, this is another one of those things. Nobody writes the movement scripts. This is animation that you get for $300 to $500 Linden dollars, and I use the company called Oracool. They're spelled like this, Oracool. Fluffy, shut up. Oracool. They make animation loops for $300 Linden dollars, and this is the same as we do with voice. It's tons of footage. We capture tons of footage, and we edit, and I edit it so that it flows, right? So this is really the key. I know other people, they write custom animations, and sometimes when you get a job where it's paid, that would be great if you have the resources to write custom animations for each interaction. That would be awesome, but we don't have the time, we don't have the money. This is a labor of love. So what I found is the key really is more of cutting to the reaction shot, right? If Fluffy, for example, talks to someone, I
Yes.
cut away. I know you like talking, Fluffy, but so if Fluffy is talking to someone, I'm cutting away, and I'm cutting from behind his head, and I'm cutting to the person that he's addressing, to the reaction shot, to the eyes, and back and forth. My friend Oli Bith from World of Warcraft is someone who we greatly admire. He has done that for years, and that's really the key. You work with very little resources, and you do it smart with editing. Okay, Heike, real quick, how did they do the real life, Second Life mixes? When I started in Machinima, I did primarily reportage style, and I always mixed real life, Second Life. Yeah, and it's just totally, you just film real life. Or you mean specifically this episode? I mean, that's a little tricky. That's with green screen.
Technique, and let me say, I want to say something.
Yeah.
You know, remember paint by numbers? That allowed you to paint, right? Okay? But then, like, if you wanted to be a real artist, you're like, it's about something more than point and squirt. Any craft, any art, right? I mean, like, you gotta have that whole picture and patience and determination. And if you have 100 people and they started today making films, in a year, how many people at the end would be considered really great filmmakers? It's a medium. You gotta get around it. This platform wasn't made for film. We bend it and beg it and cajole it into all kinds of ways. And you begin to learn that. Now, somebody made this point, I thought it was brilliant, that when cinema movies first came out, what they would do is they would take stage plays, right, and film them. Boring as could be, but it was their form of entertainment. We know stage plays. Now we have film. Okay, we'll film the stage play. But this is a whole new medium. It isn't just like a movie. It is storytelling with animation, and you gotta spend time in the as a grunt. Haha. I do not use that word lightly. You have to spend time as a grunt working in this field. The winner of the Machinima Expo, yes, that's because the Machinima Expo is open to all game engine platforms: iClone, MovieStorm, GTA, Second Life, World of Warcraft. There's a difference between filming in a virtual world and filming in a place like MovieStorm or iClone. That's a good distinction that you should understand.
Right. Let me say this is a good point that he's making.
Can I also buzz in here for a moment?
Go ahead.
Because we're not getting a word in.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Fluffy is he's
thank you also
terrible.
for responding the questions in text chat. But this aspect that Fluffy just said, because I don't know whether you're aware of it, but we are producing machinimas for language learning. And we would like to encourage our learners who might be watching those machinimas on a mobile phone to enter Second Life, immerse themselves in the virtual world, and actually practice the language. Did that happen, Fluffy? Did people actually join Second Life because of you?
Oh, that is a good question.
Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I can't possibly imagine that anybody would join Second Life just to meet me. I don't know. Are you holding my fan letters back because you don't want my head to get any bigger than it already is? I think it'll probably take up this room.
What you're saying is important here, and specifically for language learning, for the purpose to get people more interested in Second Life. I think that is in fact what Machinima can totally do. So before I answer your specific question, I have a fun story about that. This is what I tried for the first 4 years in Second Life. on a almost weekly basis. At some point, my wife thought I was going crazy, but I was putting out these videos, and I put the playlist there. These are all films that cover sort of educational uses of Second Life, and I always made sure that I show what Second Life is, and there are people behind the screens, and there are real people, and these are not just non-player characters in a game. So you can absolutely, when you push a YouTube channel with this agenda, I am absolutely convinced that you will get people into Second Life, but it's a lot of promotional work, and it stands and falls with the quality of the film, not so much the visual, like glossy or whatever. No, but with the content. What stories are you telling? Are you showing that to people? We did a documentary called Kansas to Cairo, where kids in Egypt were using Second Life for the very first time to interact with Americans. I was hired by the U.S. State Department to capture this and do a documentary. We put it out on YouTube. I made very sure that I showed people in real life and how they interacted in SL, and that was the key. The feedback that I got was, "Wow, I didn't know that these people are real. I thought they're just non-player characters." Okay, so I cannot stress this enough. There's tons of good stuff out there. Tons of good stuff out there, but they fail, in my opinion. If the purpose is to get people interested in Second Life, they continuously fail in showing that we're not just cartoons. No, we are the digital extension of real human beings. Jens is mentioning global kids. Flufee is poking me. He wants to say something. You have another example?
There's also an example of 87-year-old Fanny Starr and her daughter Helen Starr. Fanny was a Holocaust survivor who spent 6 years in concentration camps and came out of the Lotz ghetto and was able to be in Second Life at 87 and talk to girls 15, 16, 17, and the girls asked her what was her life like at their age. This is a virtual reality moment that is undescribable. They will never get a chance to meet somebody like this, to talk to them, to have that kind of educational experience of people who've really been there. I was also made aware of the Paley, that Edward R. Murrow Foundation from Washington had Helen Schaefer on stage in Second Life. People in the audience could ask her questions about politics. She'd answer it right there. This is so live and so dynamic.
But Flufee, so what you're saying, and this is totally important. What you're saying, Flufee, is of course these examples how Second Life can bring people together. But see, here is the thing, the problem that I see is that people, for example, the Helen Schaefer, I was there actually. Nobody really captured that. There was a couple of articles, but nobody really captured that and documented that via Machinima the way we did with the Kansas to Cairo project. And the Kansas to Cairo project was successful, and it drove home the point that these are real, these are spaces where people do real things. And somebody should have done this with Helen Schaefer. They should have done this at Washington State. But it's work, and it costs time, and it costs money, and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if we got off topic. We're talking too much.
But maybe I could carry on a bit in that direction. For me personally, I think our students are spending so much time in the virtual world of gaming. So, for me, it's a great thing being a teacher to use that kind of virtual environment. Say, okay, Second Life here, that's a virtual environment. We could use it as a kind of educational potential, as a platform. And maybe we could also go into the students' virtual worlds, gaming, and make some, what I would say, educational way of using, because the time they spend on that, it got so much motivation and power. So do you have any ideas, vision about that area?
Absolutely. You go to the kids and you tell them, okay, look, now you come up, and this is what Global Kids did, and Global Kids is probably the best example. This is what they do. Global Kids, they have 20 kids. They have, I think, 4 or 5 educators. They're working with them. This is an afternoon program. They go, okay, let's agree on a subject matter. Let's look at some subject matter. The first one, I think, was about a child soldier. So really heavy-duty subject matters. Then let's research that subject matter, okay? Then let's divide tasks within the group, just like a film crew, just like a Hollywood film crew. You guys are the production guys. You guys are going to be voiceovers. You guys are the editors. Here's the director. So the production guys, after they research the story, they come up with a list of props that they need. Okay, so the production guys go either into Second Life or they go to Marketplace, and they look around. Do we have those things? Can we buy them? If not, can we build them? So maybe there's some people with building skills, or you find in Second Life people who can build things. Then you have a collaboration that engages the student. I have worked with students one-on-one very little, but I have had experiences that were somewhat frustrating, and I saw the feedback from the Jens, I know exactly what you're talking about. I was like, well, these guys got to be like totally enthusiastic about Second Life. And the 2-3 times when I was hired to work with students between 18 and 23, they totally couldn't care less. Right? They felt like, oh, this is kind of, I don't know. But then I realized why. Because I didn't have something to engage them with where I said hands-on, like, go in there, go in world and find me the location. You're going to be the location scout. This is your job. You're going to teleport around and you're going to find me 5 awesome locations where we can shoot this thing. So this is how I would work with students. Very hands-on, very dividing the task, creating a Hollywood crew with all these job descriptions. Flufee, you want to say something?
Yes, I do. Something also that's great about kids in this environment and when they work on the films or see the films, they grew up playing video games, certainly playing The Sims, and a lot of the characters are very familiar to them. It is instantly relatable. I know when Pookie was telling me about the vector inspectors, and this was shown to kids in Southern California in a kindergarten to 8th grade, and there was not a peep in the auditorium. The kids were just riveted by this, and one kid stood up and said, "Hey, they're using my game." We obviously weren't using their game, but the relatability factor is there. This is delivering a message to kids in a way they really can understand and identify with.
Fluffy, but we have to keep in mind, and this is important for educators, and educators know this better than we do, where we don't work with kids every day, is that the flip side of the coin is that the video game generation can also be incredibly spoiled, okay, in terms of action and in terms of, give me something to do, where's the action? That's, in my estimation, the reason why some people find Second Life lame, right? They expect an Xbox type game.
I don't know. I was reading something about Will Wright, and that The Sims had originally started out as a war game, that he had blowing helicopter stuff up. And what he paid attention to was the fact that people were more interested in rebuilding the cities. And so he twigged to that. He realized that, and he said, you know what? There might even be more power in construction than destruction. And you're right, Drax. Kids today see so much destruction, apocalyptic events, things being destroyed. That's just the fact that this is beautiful, safe, and a build. There's a lot of strength there. I think you're right in some ways, and certainly about like CGI kind of effects. They are spoiled in terms of animation, but in terms of creating, I think there's much more to do. Much more.
You put the nail on the head, but also I was not talking specifically.
Can I put another question here in between?
Sorry.
Sorry.
Who is this talking, by the way?
another important question, really.
Heike.
This is
Heike.
This is Heike.
Oh, I see.
Gwen.
Oh, I don't see
on
your.
the couch.
I don't see your green dot. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Could I just ask, because we ask our participants, when we see machinimas, and especially now for learning a language, the target is quite clear. Okay, this is a machinima for learning a language. But what kind of target group would you think is the one that is looking at these machinimas? Is it the young ones? Is it older ones? Is it adults? Do you have any demographic data? Who is actually watching Flufee? Could you give us an idea where they're popular? Perhaps also, are they more popular in Asia? Are they more popular in the US? Do you have any idea?
I think they're popular in the U.S., but I have been told I'm a worldwide phenomenon, so I don't want to argue.
When I look at the stats on the YouTube page, primarily U.S. and Europe. But that having said, first of all, I don't really study that. I could. There's tons of analytics on YouTube. But what I find most fascinating, this is just sort of my general anecdotal sense, is that we have fans across the board in terms of age. So this is all based on my personal experience here in real life. I sent those around quite a bit to friends and family and professional colleagues from other industries, from the audio field or the film industry. And uniformly, I get back, wow, this is really hilarious. This is awesome. And I hope that they don't just kiss my butt because they feel like, oh my God, the sensitive Draxtor is going to jump off the bridge if I tell him how crappy his stuff is. But the thing is, especially the kids, my son is 9 years old, he's almost 10. So the kids here locally in our town, they frequently come over and he brings his friends and they watch me either work on stuff, editing, or they see the episode. These kids, the age range between 9 and 12, they are totally gung-ho about Flufee. Not only about him as a character, they love those stories. They love the fact that there is no real beginning, no end, that he hops around different worlds. They love that kind of completely everything goes. And what Flufee mentioned earlier, the polished stuff that we're accustomed from television is not necessarily what people want. Second Life is a world that is very colorful. Some stuff looks like crap. Some other stuff is very polished. That seems to resonate with these kids. They really, really love it. In terms of hard data, I don't have any data. I'm completely amazed. I have one personal friend at YouTube. I don't know how much strings she pulls. If she features it, we used to feature Pookie. We did a music video that's how we started, and that was featured by YouTube. So maybe we get more hits that way. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I cannot definitively answer your question. To what you asked earlier about if people got into Second Life because of Flufee, I can answer that question with a yes. Several personal friends of mine who never heard about Second Life, even though they're friends of mine and I usually talk about it every day, signed up to Second Life and wanted me to do an introduction. On Flufee's on Twitter. I use the Twitter account sometimes Pookie does, and sometimes Flufee does it himself. We had several interactions with people who saw the episodes, contacted Flufee on Twitter, and asked, what is Second Life, how do we get in there? A handful of people, and then I tweeted back, come on in and I'll help you out. In terms of with language learning, when you're talking about how to promote your business, I guess is what you're asking. Also, how to target it. I can only say you have to put compelling content on YouTube. You have to put the compelling content on there so that that people can share it. You have to push a Facebook account and a Twitter account simultaneously with the YouTube account and spend a lot of time marketing this stuff. That's what we do. Flufee is alive. He answers every single fan question on Facebook, on Twitter, on Plurk, on YouTube. Okay, it takes a lot of time. Did I answer your question, Heike?
You did indeed. Thank you very much. And I've seen that your YouTube videos have reached something like between 3,000 and 20,000 hits.
Yes, and see, this is
that
a mystery
possible?
to me because the weird thing is that some videos behave less and some really hit the people, and I have no idea what it really is. Some are 5, and then some are 30. And I filmed one. I think it was episode.
Monster Mash is almost 30.
Monster Mash was big, but the one with Kaleo and his friends, where I put some of my son's friends in there with real life, where we did comic books and we filmed at a local comic book store. Okay, so we involve people who, I mean, this is a very prominent comics book store here where I live, and so we did fake comic books, and we came in there and stuff like that. So, you know, there's a cross-promotional aspect of this. There's a lot of people who we involve, creative people, and they push it themselves. They send it around to their friends, so it's that kind of domino effect that definitely has something to do with this. How we get Fluffy in that store? You mean like a tech?
Carefully, carefully.
Yeah, he's big, right, Fluffy?
It was so funny that he starts to come out of the door. I mean, hilarious. How do you do these real life Second Life mixes? I don't understand.
This green screening, that's
a genius.
This is what I learned. Like I said, I can only repeat this. I'm not a video professional. I'm an audio professional. I work with film in the audio department, but I'm not a visual professional. This is all me learning by doing and asking my friends. So this is green screening. You just film it in Second Life against a green background. You put a green trim in Second Life. Fluffy interacts in front of that screen. I know, Fluffy, you love those green screen scenes, right? You just run around in front of a green screen. And he goes, you know, and he loves that. He loves green for some reason, right? Don't you, Fluffy? Or blue screen.
Goes with pink.
Right. So then you can key that out in your editing program. And again, YouTube, I'm not a friend. I'm not in bed with Google or anything. I think Google is a very dangerous monopoly here, and that's a different story. But on YouTube, you Google green screen. You try to find green screen techniques. There's tons of videos that show you how to do very affordable green screen.
You know, Ray Kurzweil asked
yes.
me if I'd work with him at Google.
Sorry, I think also, well, time goes very fast here, and we have been sitting here 2 hours, and across different time zones, and we are getting so involved. And I have a few questions about how do you make the camera movement so it's not jerky, because that's always a problem when I compare with others and my own battling with it. But I think we more or less should wrap it up now, and just are there any more questions? And of course, I would love very much to see also together the film Vector, which I find it fantastic, especially the very nice camera movement and no jerky movement there. But I think we should just start. I can't follow the chat, and there's so much going on, but I'm been very, very much pleased, and I think you have inspired us a lot.
Yeah, and if you have more questions, I have some more time. I can stick around. I wanted to. Can I say one more thing to Heike here? What is I said it before, but there's a tremendous opportunity in the language learning field, obviously, to show them what Second Life can do. And the problem is it does not penetrate the real world, the so-called real world. It doesn't. I live here in the Monterey Peninsula in California. There's the Defense Language Institute. It's a military instructional, huge institute, right, where they do immersive language training. So they have native speakers, and they put soldiers into these 3-month courses, and they learn Arabic from scratch and stuff like that. It's amazing. And I meet language instructors sometimes here at the grocery store. Oh, Winchell is from Pebble Beach. Woohoo! That is funny. Yeah, I'm just around the corner. But anyway, so I'm meeting these instructors sometimes, and I tell them about Second Life, and their eyes glaze over. And so, like I said, Monterey Institute. Anyway, so my point is, YouTube channel, push out these videos. This is the core problem of Second Life. The core problem is it is insular. It is insular, and it has so much to offer. And Linden Lab is not going to do that promotion. Nobody is going to do this promotion unless you do it yourself. I'm not a promoter. I hate marketing myself. But I started to do this with the Fluffee series hardcore and spend a lot of time doing it because I love you, Fluffee. And somebody asked earlier who made Fluffee. Fluffee was made by Byte Gang. It's a developer from Prague. And they own Fluffee, and we don't own him, or Fluffee doesn't even own himself, I guess. So that's another big.
I can only go so long without talking.
Okay, so the Fraps files, real quick. The Fraps files are huge, and that's why you need RAID drives to get the files, and then you edit with the uncompressed files. And then when the film is finished, then you convert it down to H.264, which is the Apple originated QuickTime codec that is used everywhere on the web. Again, this is very technical. But yeah, the big problem is the files are huge, and you should capture at the highest possible resolution and edit with them until the very last step when you have everything done. Then you scale it down.
Can I say something? Frame rate is really important, and that's something that you can really not realize how much is being sucked out. Like really fancy, loads of prim hairdos and a lot of complicated outfits and costumes. They look great, but too many of that and your frame rate is really going to drop. It's really best to have a frame rate of about 25 to 30, and when you film, I know with Fraps, it's very easy to see what that runs.
Okay,
no
so
bling.
Fraps,
no bling.
That's right. Fraps shows you on the upper left-hand corner how much frames you get. So you capture that whatever Fraps tells you. I capture, sometimes it's 60 frames, sometimes it's 100. So I capture with those whatever Fraps does, and Fraps continuously updates you in the upper left-hand corner what the current frame rate is, according to Second Life, right? I mean, the frame rate that Second Life operates at. Then what I do, because I edit on the Mac, I convert those files. I leave the quality high, but I do reorder the frame rates, meaning I convert them all to 30 frames per second. That's a process that takes some time. A program called Compressor does this on the Mac. That is only necessary because Final Cut needs a definite frame rate. Hey, Valred Cat recorded her first episode. That is totally awesome. That is awesome. Congratulations. Welcome to the the world of Machinima.
Valred Cat.
Can I again mention something else?
Yes, of course.
What I noticed about when looking at Pookie's various types of machinimas, I went through her channel like crazy. The one thing that really impressed me is that in almost every episode, she puts some kind of humor in it. How do you... I mean, okay, Fluffee in itself is humorous, but I mean, do you have somebody who helps you with this humorous point? Because to create humor is quite difficult.
You think so? My wife says I'm a joke every morning when I wake up. Okay.
That was a good one.
That was good, huh?
Yeah, I will say that. I know. Arriba. Mommy Desprez is a saint.
Right, I'm married to Momi Desprez, but Pookie's not here. Let me speak for her real quick because this is also something that Pookie and I realized is lacking in SL Machinima and is, for example, present in World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft has a great tradition of narrative Machinima, okay? They have hilarious Machinima. And here's another thing, and this is the key here. Pookie and I, work very hard on the script. We really nail down the script. We are brutal. We look at shows. When we started Fluffy, we were looking at the current top shows in comedy, which in my personal estimation is 30 Rock, The Office, the British version, the American version. There's several German comedy shows that I like. Nobody else likes them because when they don't speak German, it's not that funny. But anyway, so we look. The Office is the best. But anyway, so we look at these shows, okay, and we study these shows and why does this work? And we just really work hard on the scripts. And I would say Pookie is a very creative person, and she's a very funny person, and she is able to, call it talent or call it. I think she worked hard on this skill, but I also think you just have to work hard on stuff. You just don't.
This is what Pookie says about that, because I know I've heard it a million times. She says, to be an artist, you have to have an ego. Nobody puts this stuff out without having an ego. Look at this, right? You gotta stand up there and say it. However, in order to be a real artist or to have something of truth, you have to be egoless. You must be merciless on yourself.
Let me say something. You gotta be merciless. And what helps is to have a 9-year-old and have a critical spouse that you respect. A lot of my friends have sort of married their fans. I think that's a mistake. I have married a wonderful woman who is not my fan. She loves me and I love her, but she's not someone who would just say, "Oh, you're so great. Look at the music you did. Look at this episode." No, she's very critical. And so I have a son who looks at me and who I hope loves me, but is also embarrassed by me. So these people keep me in check in terms of what is funny. I do think of myself as funny, but they kind of don't sometimes. So, I run stuff by them. And so we run stuff by people who we respect. But I just love comedy.
My God. I just saw you on the freeway, Drax. On the freeway in Los Angeles. And you're saying, let me just, whoa, that's too fast.
What are you talking about? Sorry, Heike wants to get a word in. Let me say a final word. My biggest idol is Frank Zappa. Zappa is not only one of the greatest musicians that has ever lived, but he also was an extremely funny person, and he actually did an album called Does Humor Belong in Music? Which I would say absolutely yes. Rest in peace, he went way too early. But Frank Zappa is also my, is like my, that's where I want to go with everything I do, kind of that kind of quality or that's my muse. Yeah, you're right. And he obviously was very obsessive with quality, but also he had this wacky sense of humor. And I have friends who find Fluffy absolutely not funny. I'm sorry to tell you that, Fluffy, but I do have a few friends that don't like you. How do you feel about that?
I have to go now.
Okay. Good answer.
That's a good one. Okay.
So, let me wrap up this session.
Yes,
by asking every one of you for a final statement. Also from Jens and Fluffy, if that's okay.
Yes, of course.
And then I can just turn around to the audience and thank you for coming. And please befriend everyone in the audience. And befriend also Fluffy and Draxtor. And so with this, I'm passing over to Jens and for the final statement.
And then Fluffy. Yes, thank you very much, Heike, and thank you very much for coming around Flufee and Drax. It's been a great pleasure to experience you in real life or in second life, compared with the films I've been watching. And I hope it inspired my my colleagues here, my language college, in the course, with some inspiration of how the real filmmakers are doing here in Second Life. And of course, we have many other questions about how do you do it. But I want to say thank you very much that you would take your time to come around to the amateurs, which we regard us, but we are educators. And thank you very much.
We are all in this as one. As one. Never forget this. We're making the world a better place. One pixel at a time. Love you. Bye.
Okay. See you around, Flufee. Don't forget that we have an appointment later, right? Don't forget. Here he goes. Jesus Christ, that guy. Anyway, my final statement.
If you want to get a last word in as well, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm talking too much. I'm talking too much. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Thank you so much for having me. I can tell you that to me it's the utmost pleasure to if I have given you guys the Machinima bug a little bit, I have succeeded, because now we have a lot of regions closing and people pull out of Second Life primarily for financial reasons. It's so expensive to have a sim, and I've said this many times. For example, if you want to practice Machinima, go to some of these regions or some of these islands that are going to be pulled off the grid because people can't afford it, and just capture that stuff and approach the beginning of Machinima like I approached my my movie career, which was to film family vacations. And then go from there, and everything is out there. I mean, we live in golden times. We live in golden times in the sense that we have all the knowledge out there, and we have people that we can ask. We have, we have 15-year-olds who post on YouTube videos about how to green screen. I'm not kidding. That's my primary resource. So thank you very much, and again, ask me anything, and I will answer every single question. And in terms of we have we have a new episode coming Wednesday. That's my last word. And then we have a big project for the summer, a different project, Machinima related, which is very ambitious, and maybe I fail, but who knows? That's it.
Thank you very much.
Can I extend just many things, and would you do us a favor?
Anything.
Because the Machinevo workshop will take place over a period of 5 weeks. And at the end of 5 weeks, we would like to do a film festival with the productions. And we would like to invite some Machinimatographers as a jury. It will also be a crowdsourced, who sort of, what's the best Machinima kind of festival. And we have a beautiful sort of a Machinevo, what you call an award to pass out.
Yes, award.
Oh,
yes.
An award.
Yes,
so
a nice
would you
award.
be able to join us on the jury?
Of gold! Oh, yes. Yes. Totally. Yeah.
That would be fantastic. And
thank you.
And I've also given you a list of links. These are 40 productions which are done by our group since last year.
I've sent them
because
already.
That's the second time we're doing this workshop.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah,
yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah.
So if we could welcome you back for the jury, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm gonna look over these videos and then send you some feedback. That's great. I was not aware that you've done so many. That's amazing. I'll give you some feedback on those.
I think I sent them to Pokey
thank
also,
you very much for coming.
Got the links.
Yeah. Oh yeah, virtual.
I'm sorry,
TV
I'm talking so a bit funny
this.
because I'm hearing my own voice because of the recording.
Did you record the video too?
I have to listen to the recordings to make sure that the recording is great. We are doing a recording in Adobe Connect for the team.
Great. From the do you capture the web stream, or you capture in world also?
No, that's just in basically we're screen sharing in Word in Adobe Connect, and this way it will be filmed with a flash, kind of very low kind of profile of recording. We've been doing this for some time. Adobe Connect.
Yeah, they wanted to use Adobe Connect.
So that people can also sit in and watch this session if they cannot make it into Second Life. We've had a visitor this evening. Normally we have more even, but it was only one tonight. So it's a very quick and cheap way of recording things and having people see what we're doing here in Second Life.
That is great. Then you put it out on your website later on for people to see?
Yeah, it will be just a link to the Adobe Connect server, which is like a recording of a webinar or web conference.
But you don't need to be in Adobe Connect. You don't have to sign up with Adobe Connect for that?
Not at all, no. You can watch the recording just with a link.
This is good. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with it, but they wanted to use it once. You asked so many questions also about marketing and such, and I feel I haven't really answered them. But what came to my mind, when we realized the feedback that we got through Flufee and the popularity, I started specifically asking content creators in Second Life to submit some of their stuff, and some of these people in the Second Life fashion industry that I got to know, and I wasn't really familiar how huge the fashion industry is, and I come to respect them quite a bit. And we used some of the products, and we prominently placed them. You call it product placement or whatever. That really boosted the popularity also within Second Life. So again, it's the domino effect of bringing people on board in a targeted way, and then utilize their fan base and then multiply your fan base. But what is really interesting... Yeah, go ahead.
So, and one thing which I think is great that actually you are asking for some of you could say fan club, well, could you help us out with, we need 5 people or come around for that. That's also quite fun to be able to take part in it, because that's motivating.
Yeah, and that goes again, and I think Virtual TV Media here, he'll like that answer, because that's why I love Second Life for many reasons, but one of the things that makes Second Life special as a place to film is that you make it collaborative and you make it fun with the people you know. Right? So this is not like Movie Storm or something else. I don't want to diss Movie Storm or something, but I'm personally not interested in that at all. Exactly. He's putting it's just a software, absolutely. And there's a huge difference. And I think outside of Second Life, when you have not experienced it, people really don't understand that difference. And I've had people here in my studio look over my shoulder and go like, "Wow, that's how you do it. These are actually you're like a director." And I tell them, "Yeah, that's what I keep telling you. I'm a director." And they go, "Oh yeah, I thought you were actually crazy and losing your marbles when you called yourself a director, but you're actually directing these people." And so this is still a lot of work to be done in terms of explaining it in the simplest terms, and that's what we all should do.
I have just one thing which I think is great. I mean, we are dealing with a flat structure, in a global flat structure. I can get in contact with you. I'm in Copenhagen, you are sitting in California, and we are talking about, okay, you are a film director, okay, I'm just a teacher, ordinary teacher. So it's a kind of different structure. It's a global structure where there are no authorities. You can always ask, it's an open market.
I will cleverly use that break to wrap the session up. And thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for the audience for coming. Please pass our regards to Pookie.
Yeah, I'll
Pookie
call her.
knows me quite well, so and I was a little bit sad that she wasn't here, but
no, she has. I think she's in bed.
Awesome.
I have to call her.
Absolutely awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Gosh, I can go on forever, but I actually
I'm stopping the recording now. And thank you so much, Draxtor, for coming.
You Danish or are you German?
Heike is German. I'm Danish, yeah.
Oh, dann könnten wir auch Deutsch reden. Warum rede ich dann Englisch? Das ist ja Blödsinn.
Ja, ehrlich, wieso das denn?
Ich bin Deutscher und war schon immer deutsch und bin nur deshalb nach Amerika gegangen, weil ich dachte, da sind nicht genügend Deutsche. Nein, Quatsch.
Echt klasse.
Ja, und this is another thing because we worked on a documentary about Second Life for the German network ZDF, and I was on a few press tours with that movie when it came.
That was yours?
I did the music. No, I did the music and I did some research, but the director is Austrian. Daniel Muschel is the director.
Oh, I thought it was not too well done, actually.
Oh, what didn't you like about it?
The thing is that the visuals. The thing is that if you don't know what the film is all about, yeah, and the visuals in the beginning, they speak this thing that people who are handicapped and that they do all sorts of crazy things in Second Life, like selling sex toys and stuff. And so the visuals were so strong in my ideas that if you didn't follow the actual documentary, which was a very good theme, a very good content as such, to say, okay, here are some handicapped people who get a second chance, yeah. But the visuals were so strong in the beginning that it would represent this sick person with Second Life. It's almost like only the sick person is in Second Life. And that contrast between the handicapped person and the Second Life scenes, which were quite sexual as well on top, fermented in so many people this preconceived idea that it's only weirdos behind the avatars, you know.
Really?
So I thought it was sadly shot beside. I mean, the message was it came out at the later stage, but at that point I thought it was already too late.
I think this is very it's great to hear your point, but I have to say that we decided to have 7 very, very different people and to profile and follow them over the course of 4 years, and one of them was Stroker Serpentine, who works in the adult entertainment industry. The reason why we picked him was not to perpetuate a cliche. It was merely because he was a successful business person, and we wanted to have one successful business person contrasted with Gentle, who is physically disabled. And I think the balance was really quite well done, and there was a lot of scenes.
If you watched it to the end, it was really good. If you watched it to the end,
well,
but if you say
I'm very conservative in the. Right, but I work in documentary. I've been working in documentary for a very long time in radio and in film, and I have to say, if you don't watch if you just jump into a document, I can't help people who zap around with a remote control. A documentary is designed to be more than a newspaper article. A documentary goes in depth, and it's a long form. It's just like a 1-hour radio investigation versus a 5-minute top of the hour news. I see your point. We had criticisms
I'm a lot around the German community here in Second Life. I'm part of Munich SL, Berlin SL, Köln
Mhm.
FL. It's the Germany 3D community. I'm not quite sure whether you're a bit familiar about what they do. They do fantastic stuff here in Second Life.
Oh,
Yeah?
I know.
And
Stefan is a good friend of mine. Yeah, from
yeah, and
Second Life
so
Munich. Mhm.
when this login to Second Life went around, everybody watched it, and so we had discussions about it, and I heard that feedback from others too. You know, the visuals,
Well,
the visuals were so strong that if you didn't really listen to the message afterwards, you did get a wrong impression.
that's not the purpose of a documentary, I have to say. It's not the
Yeah,
purpose
yeah.
of a novel of Tolstoy or Dostoevsky to look at the cover and say, well, that's, it's the purpose to really go in there. We spent almost 5 years with the subjects of this documentary, flying all over the world, and we had 300 hours of total footage, and we really looked into their lives. And Gentle Heron from Virtual Ability let us into her life and really look very closely where other people would have said, no, I don't want you to see me get up in the morning with multiple sclerosis. And we showed that, and we showed Corey's life and his mother, and I think there's a lot more. I don't know why people have those hang-ups about Stroker. I personally, I don't quite understand that, because there's so much more than yeah, it's the surface. Yeah. Well, we live in a
Okay.
culture that wants quick things real quick. That's, yeah. I don't know.
I don't want to leave it on that negative note because
No, no.
of course you're doing
You know,
fantastic work.
no,
And
I don't take this personally at all, but I have to say that I worked in radio documentary prior to now really focusing on film, and this is a real passion of mine. And the real problem is in the United States, same thing. People don't have nobody wants to even fund for example, 60-minute radio documentary that is more in depth than just a little glimpse into it. I heard these objections about Stroker. I heard these objections because people in Second Life are they're very vulnerable because the mainstream press has exploited that. They exploited it by saying Second Life is only for weirdos or sensitive. That's right. But I don't find anybody in that film weird. But maybe that's just me. I don't find Stroker weird. I don't understand how he can be in that industry, and how can he tell his 12-year-old son what he's doing for a living. I couldn't do that, but I don't find him weird. He's a businessman, and he's extremely successful, and he's also a loving father. He has two very well-adjusted children who are 12 and 15. I don't find that weird. And then we have, who else is in the movie? Corey. He had a car accident. That's how the movie starts. He's 19 years old. The relationship between a paraplegic and his mother, why is that weird? Gentle Heron, who is socially isolated, doesn't want to have her 24-year-old daughter care for her because she feels the 24-year-old daughter has to live a life on her own. It's not weird. The two people living in Beijing who play World of Warcraft around the clock, yeah, we could dismiss them. Why do they do that? They're addicts. No, they want to make a living. These are social realities, looking at all these different angles. You mentioned the SL community. The film is not a statement that other people in the SL community don't do interesting things. Not at all. The reason why these protagonists were picked is because whatever that a documentary, you approach tons of people. People in SL Munich were approached, many of them. 90% didn't even respond. The 10% said, no, I don't want you to film me in real life. So it's not that we take what we get. We had other people that we could have reported on, but we took exactly that mix because Stroker, the sex god, is also a good personal friend of Gentle Heron. And Gentle Heron makes a powerful statement. She says, sex is a natural thing. It's a healthy thing. A lot of people with physical disabilities don't have any sexual relations in real life, for them Second Life is powerful. So it's not an exploitative weird thing. It's a natural thing. What I don't understand, I mean, I would expect here in the United States, where people are way more Puritan than in Europe, to get up in arms around it. The film hasn't come out yet. It will. But in Germany, that does surprise me. And let me tell you, I was at one press event in Munich, okay? I was at one press event, and Gentle Heron talks about her life. She talks about her day. She's on the Second Life monitor. There's 15 journalists in the audience. Listen to this story. Gentle Heron is on the screen. She talks about what she did. She talks about a group of Israeli students that she showed around in virtual ability, and then she taught something, and then there was a meeting in virtual ability, blah, blah, blah. What's the first question of the journalist in the room? He asks Gentle, so what did you do today? And she says, well, I just told you. And he says, well, no, you told me what you did in your world there. What did you really do? I mean, did you go outside? Did you go for a walk in the woods? And I was thinking, like, I'm not an aggressive person. Well, maybe I am, but I really wanted to punch that guy, because Gentle Heron, in the beginning, we introduced her as a woman, 60 years of age, multiple sclerosis, with good days and bad days. And here is this arrogant journalist sitting there and making that kind of statement. It was extremely offensive. And that's when I and Daniel, the director, knew the problem is not the sex of the movie. The problem is that society is discriminating against people with disabilities. Okay? That's the real issue that I discovered through this movie. Working on this movie, I discovered, because my mother was a teacher at a school for people with disabilities in Munich, so I grew up in that environment. And I always thought, this is completely, there's no discrimination. I was completely wrong. When we worked on this movie, the discrimination in Germany is almost worse than here in the United States. And that's the real issue here. No, they don't see it as real.
The issue that whatever we do here in Second Life is not real to them. It's not really work. It's not really a meeting. It's not really
But what is
trainings? It's just like play game. And this, I think, is also another prejudice that people have, apart from the handicapped ones.
But what is
and
real? I mean,
I do know Gentle Heron quite a bit, because I've worked with her on a couple of projects, and she's a wonderful woman. She's an absolute darling. She's love her to bits, honestly. Yeah.
I mean, your point is well taken. Sorry, Jens, go ahead.
But I'm just talking about what is real. In a philosophical point of view, what is real? What is real for you? What's real for me? What is it? I mean, you cannot touch it.
Absolutely, and that's still where we are light years away as a society in really understanding these kind of environments. And like I said, if you when you went to these press events with this press tour, and the kind of questions the journalists asked, to me, was so revealing. It was revealing that nobody really understands how powerful this can be, especially for a person with physical disabilities, where you're not judged. You're not judged the way you look, what you can do physically, and so on and so forth. And that's what we still do. We like to believe that we're somehow civilized. We like to believe that we don't discriminate. No, we do. We do. And we don't raise our children to be open-minded about that. You see children look at a guy in a wheelchair and look weird at the guy or whatever. There is, like I said, I mean, we here have different experiences. My personal experience is that my mother worked in that field, and I also did civil service in Germany in a mental institution. So unless you expose yourself directly to other people, there's a lot of people who will never meet anybody other than their own. Yeah, and I think that's what documentary does. But documentary like the ZDF, I can only say I want to kiss and hug the German ZDF every morning I want to call them and tell them thank you, thank you, thank you, because they stuck with us for almost 5 years making this movie, and documentary does not pay any bills. It does not. It doesn't have any ratings. Nothing. It's depressing, but it is important, because if we don't document things, we have nothing.
Yeah, and I can also invite you, if you like, Draxtor, I can invite you on Monday. We're going to meet here the film director of My Avatar and Me, Bente Milton.
Ah, see, there you go. See, for example, My Avatar and Me, I love that movie.
Fantastic.
So why do you find that fantastic, for example? Let's play devil's advocate here, Heike. I'm sorry, but this is very interesting. You criticize, for example, the sexual content or some of the depictions, and that sort of then they drown out, sort of these strong sexual visuals drown out the other things in the Log Into Life movie. Now, I can say My Avatar and Me perpetuates exactly the cliche even more, because here's a guy who's lonely and then he falls in love with a woman in Second Life. Now, I could say, I don't think that, but I'm doing it just for argument's sake, Heike. I will say now My Avatar and Me is terrible because it destroys all credibility Second Life is. It depicts Second Life as fantasy land, as where people flee if they don't have a real life, right?
Wow,
yeah,
that could be
absolutely
interesting
right
discussion.
there.
Sorry, Heike. They are, of course, Bente and Mikkel. They are Danish, so I know them, and I contacted them, and they asked around here for this coming Monday here, and of course that could be a big discussion. They are coming 3 people, the cameraman also, and Mikkel and Bente. So they're.
Do you want? But understand, Jens, right? I'm not serious. I don't think that way. I love this movie, but I'm just saying that people could say exactly the same thing about this movie, what they did about, or what Heike is criticizing about our movie. That's what I'm saying. I personally love the Avatar Me. I love the whole concept and the way it was done. But I have heard people say the same thing to me. They say, "Oh, I saw this crazy film, My Avatar and Me. Oh my God, isn't that crazy what people do in Second Life? That's disgusting."
Yes,
right?
Yes, and yes, I mean, my wife said the same thing there. I mean, is that what you are doing, Jens? No.
That's funny.
I had a problem. Yes, I had a problem there because I have my family, my children, my friends. They still, it's a bit, what's going on. I look at Facebook pictures. I mean, Jens, what's going on?
Exactly.
I have always to defend myself and explain I'm a teacher and we are not doing that kind of thing. But, yeah, it's a.
We all have that same problem. You know what? Let me contact Heike. If you can send me an email, and I'll do an intro to Daniel Moschel, who's the director, and you will love him. And he will give you very good answers about the choices that he made with the sexual content. Daniel is really the guy who should speak about the movie. And he will, I'm sure if he has time, he will love to come in and talk. That would be really, really very informative, because I'm not the director. He ultimately made those choices. And actually, we had this discussion. I told him, first of all, if you show naked people, this will never be shown in the United States ever. So, and he said, I don't care, but that's the reality. And so we had these discussions. It would be very good. Send me an email here. That is funny. I think when my dad sent me that because he taped the movie when it was, I think it was on German TV, right? And then he said he taped the movie and he sent me the DVD. Jens, this is so funny. Probably my dad also. That is everything wrong? Is everything right with your marriage?
Yes.
I say, yeah, everything is right with my 5 virtual girlfriends. Everything is just fine.
Yes. Yes. I could say a lot of things about it.
Yes, we want your fluffy T-shirt next to us.
Oh, yeah,
guys,
please.
everyone.
Can you Can't you send me a private IM? It's easier to share from the inventory. Send me a private IM. I'll give you the shirt.
Oh, you could. Oh, you had out the shirts. Oh, I'd love to. I'd love one.
I was supposed to have one on, but I couldn't. I went naked and didn't like it that way. Fluffy T-shirt with nothing else.
Oh yeah, you need some
please,
pants.
Everyone come here. Everyone come behind us, in front of us, next to us. Val Red Cat, come on. We're going to do a group picture.
I'm looking for the.
Don't move. Don't move. Dragster.
I'm not moving, right? Where's the shirt?
Please, Pionia, come next to me. And Rulito, do you want to come here? By the way, you haven't accepted my friend request as of yet. See? Rulita.
Here is the Fluffy.
Come next to me, Rulita.
Get closer, Manfred. Yeah, you.
Oh yeah.
Where are you?
First, you give me this talk about those visuals were so strong, and then you want us to get closer. I mean, come on. I know you Germans. The Germans are always like, oh God, that's terrible. And then in their private lives, they have sex with a chocolate bar. Only Milka, of course.
You're so funny. Rolita, come here, come here. It was, I remember vividly, we were in a group and we saw a beautiful lake. And then we all wanted to do like a group photo in front of the lake. So we all stepped sort of next to each other. It was beautiful. It was just one person. He couldn't handle his avatar properly. And he was a VIP in real life. I mean, a very important person. And so we said to him, come on, get in the row. We want to take a group picture. And what does he do? He steps too far back and drops into the lake.
That's hilarious.
It was in Second Life, yeah, but we jumped after him. And then we discovered a beautiful underwater world, yeah, with our Mayan sculptures and all sorts of Mayan stuff, yeah. And we were so happy that he dropped into that water in the end. It took us a while to get out, though.
Yeah, and also that keeps you, those experiences then are the key experiences about... that you get interested in Second Life, I think.
Yes, you never forget those. They're so strong in your mind. So
I did an introduction at Santa Claus.
Is here lovely, Relita as well. Fantastic.
Now I really have to run very soon. I have to get over to school.
We'll take a picture now. Pionia, do you want to come next to me? Oh, whatever. It's a nice picture anyway. And Garita, or Crystal, can you turn around? Look forward.
Winchell, this is so funny that you're from Pebble Beach. This is so hilarious. I was at the Monterey Institute once, and you know, Michelle... No, not PJ. I was at Santa Clara University. That was for staff. You went to PG High. Can you recommend it? We still have a few years. We have to go to middle school next year, so there's a lot of I'm a big proponent of the public school system, so I'm not going to withdraw my child from that system like a lot of people do. They go to Stevenson. My friend teaches drums at Stevenson, and he tells me every day how terribly spoiled the kids are there, and they have exchange students from overseas, from Asia, completely spoiled. Everybody drives a BMW. It's I don't know. Weird. You know the area very well. Yeah, but if you went to but if you go to Carmel High, it's probably even worse. I don't know. I mean, at least in Pacific Grove, people are more mixed. Oh, I see. Well, Karma Valley is very mixed. Yeah, I mean, there's normal people and then super rich people.
Thank you so much, everyone. So positive.
Thank you very much.
So much. Thank you, Draxtor, for coming.
And
maybe
see you Monday for with me and my avatar. I will send you information.
Send me an email.
You can see. Yeah, you can see.
Guys, send me email. Yeah, and I will forward this to Daniel. What time is it? What time is it going to be?
I think it will be 1 hour before.
12 noon as well.
Yeah.
Great. That's 8 o'clock. What is that? 7 p.m. in Europe.
In Europe, it's
that's 9
p.m.
9 p.m. Yes, 9 p.m. CET.
Okay, that's a good time for Daniel. I'm sure if he's available, he really loves SL. He was a World of Warcraft ad